One of Froggen's specialities, farms up a storm with that one and always is a danger later on. Of course, the red side casting ban as well. Don't really need to touch too much on that one with his 92% ban ratio.
Twisted Fate still open. Been a first pick for Froggen. A few times it's been open, but still Lucian should be the #1 pick for them, seeing as they already banned 2 junglers away.
And we see Twisted Fate will in fact be the final ban here then for Roccat, which will leave Lee Sin available to be chosen. And will Alliance actually go for that one straight away? They've been hovering over a lot of different champions, but it will be Lee Sin that's picked up there for the man on your screen, Shook.
So the #1 jungler at the moment, because again everything around him gets changed a little bit. You ban away 2 junglers, it's pretty obvious. Should mean a Lulu or Gragas in case Roccat wants one of those for the top lane. Did actually already log into Gragas now. It's a good start for them, and they obviously knew it's going to be first pick Lee Sin, so we can now get 2 strong picks ourselves. Therefore they ban away TF as well.
And taking Lucian, as you mentioned there, for Celaver. Champion which Tabzz played yesterday, but we already talked about, had a few hairy moments, let's call them, in team fights where it went a little bit too aggressive, ended up costing them quite harshly throughout the course of that one. Alliance though locking in quickly with a Shyvana pickup here for Wickd.
So Shyvana's actually been a top laner, which in Europe at least, people stopped playing her for a few weeks. She's still very good, all around a strong pick. Normally she will do fine in her laning phase, she scales well into team fights, she can do multiple things, either build Bladed or King, focus on split pushing, or she can build full tank, go for team fights. I mean, there's so many options. You can flank around, you can engage fights. Overall, just a very, very strong top laner still. But we haven't seen her in a while. People have gone for Renekton, Jax, Kayle, Lulu of course now. Both Jax and Kayle been nerfed a little bit, so people look towards other champions. And really, just it's funny thing with Roccat here. Normally, they love to play Lulu, but ever since Overpow played it and everyone seemed to get the farm record against him in the mid lane, he kind of stopped playing.
Yeah, stop playing that one. And we did see Nami locked in there as well for Nyph, who himself gone through a bit of a rocky period. I mean, at the start of this split, Nyph was absolutely on fire. That's how it really goes for the entire Alliance team with that 2-2 Super Week that they weren't really expecting. The loss yesterday as well. We'll see what he brings to the table today with Nami as that support. What are Roccat going to go for? Braum, Lucian, a lane which we've seen time and time again is a real pain to deal with.
So annoying and very hard for Nami as well to deal with, because if you get close to her, you will be able to land a stun or either force a flash, and then she's very squishy. She will die unless you land a perfect time bubble. And if Roccat goes for Vi here, it's a pick we've seen from Jankos once before, and it didn't work for him at all. It was against Gambit in the Super Week, and the coordination from Roccat in the team fights were horrible, to be honest, because Jankos would go in, the rest of the team would run away, and he just ended up dying by himself, and Roccat ended up actually winning the game in the very end, like 15 minutes into the game, because Gambit made a mistake, but still, it was a pick which didn't actually work for them. We need to see if they can fix the coordination in this one.
Again, having to just touch on that again, moving to what would, I guess we can say, the second tier of junglers really, with the 2 bans of Elise and Evelyn on Alliance's side and their first pick of Lee Sin. So will be Vi this time around for Jankos, and the Braum as well locked in there, so they'll have that annoyance of a bottom lane to deal with. Nami already locked in there, so Tabzz going to be picking his AD carry for himself here by the looks of things. And we may even see Froggen coming in with Yasuo. Couple of knockups in this team already.
Oh, such a good comp for Yasuo here. I mean, you have Nami, double knockup, you have Shyvana with ult, you have Lee Sin with his kick. So many options for Froggen here to choose targets, and they can also roam around and play like a pick comp, where you have Lee Sin, finds the target, kicks them, Froggen joins in instantly. You can land again the bubble from Nami, so a lot of pick potential here from Alliance. And then you have Caitlyn, the safe AD carry, to provide some wave clear. So if they want to do this split push where they have Wickd in one lane on Shyvana with Bladed Ruin King, you have Froggen in a different lane, and then you have just Tabzz sitting in the mid lane with Caitlyn farming up to the late game, clear the wave over and over, and then Shook can just move around like he wants to, trying to set up kills.
We'll see about this one as well. The wind wall could block a lot that Gragas has got to throw in there later on in the game. Got to be quick on the finger, but if someone can do it, probably would be Froggen in that mid lane. So let's see then what Roccat are actually going to go for here. And they're actually going to be locking in the Aatrox, which will bring us to Gragas in the mid lane.
Okay, so I heard a little bit about Gragas mid, and you do build him AP, but not full AP. You'll need some tanky stats. I mean, Hourglass is a very good item. Abyssal Scepter is a good item on him. Rod of Age is still. You need some tankiness on this Gragas in the mid lane, also some AP, because again, you have to get in the middle of teamfights. You have to get into the face of people with your E, with your W, to actually deal your full amount of damage. So if you're too squishy, you'll just die instantly. So we might see some tanky AP Gragas in this mid lane, which could mean for Roccat going into the late game, they will lack damage, because Aatrox, he falls off when it comes to damage late game. Lucian is a good AD carry late, but it's going to be hard for him to be the only guy to actually kill people. So late game wise, I kind of fear for the damage on Rockat's side here, where of course Alliance, you have Yasuo, you have Caitlyn, two champions who skills well into late game, and you have the Shyvana to be the super tank as well.
And maybe Lucian not exactly safe when you've got those mobile champions over on the Alliance team. We'll be finding out here, but who you guys think came out ahead in Champion Select? Tweet at LOL Esports with hashtag AllWin or hashtag ROCWin, and we'll see if these lineups manage to change your mind somewhat. 60-40 was the vote from LOLesports.com in favor of Alliance, but definitely a lot less in terms of percentage of what we've been seeing you guys voting for when it comes to Alliance games in the past.
And from talking with Alliance just before the game here, one of their reasons behind them losing, according to themselves, is they didn't really adjust well enough to 4.10 and now 4.11. And they were looking what other teams were playing and tried to copy it instead of finding their own things. And it didn't work for them at all. And they didn't really know which tactic to use. This time here, with this comp, they have a different options. They can be pick comp, they can be split pushing. We need to see which one they decide to use.
Well, we're going to find out because we're headed into game for our first matchup of the day as Alliance take on Roccat. We're going to see how this mid lane Gragas does against Froggen's Yasuo in the mid lane. We've seen Froggen bring in some terrifying Yasuo play to the mid lane in previous weeks. See if he can do it here again. And also a big question mark over Jankos, because he is the big playmaker in this Roccat team on a lot of occasions.
Yeah, and it will be hard for him on Vi, especially if he meets Shook early on, then Shook should be able to take him down. And normally you really want to get level 6 on Vi before you start ganking around. Opens up for a lot of time for Shook then to apply pressure early on, or go into the jungle of Roccat, try and find Jankos and kill him, and therefore delay his level 6. So a lot of options for Alliance here, and also some decent enough lanes. I mean, Aatrox is a very strong laner. There could be some issues for Wickd up in his top lane, but then Shook can come up and help him. And this mid lane matchup, I'm actually not sure who has the advantage. Normally, Gragas top lane at least is very strong against melee champions, because you want to get in and smack them in the head with your W. But Froggen can just dance around, and of course we have to say 4.11, Yasuo was slightly changed in the early game. His E only stacks up to 2 now, and only gives 50% bonus damage. So you can only dash forward one and then the second time, and therefore you already get the 50% bonus damage. You won't get more. You can still dash around all you want, but this doesn't give you anything extra. So it's a bit of a nerf to his early game, but late game wise it should do any difference.
And we are going to see standard lanes here with the 2v2 down in bottom. That's Caitlyn, Nami versus Lucian, Braum. And what are the important things to note in this lane? We've said it before that Lucian Braum is always going to be a very hard lane to go up against, if nothing else other than Lucian's passive, which gives him the easier stun option.
Yeah, exactly. The fact you can just land auto tag and a Q from Braum, you get 2 stacks, and then you get the double tap from Lucian, and you already have your stun, makes it very hard to play against. However, I normally don't like Braum too much against supports who can actually sustain, because his poke is just a Q back and forth here. Tap needs to be careful though, taking some damage early on. But we see the poke from Braum, it's just using the Q. It's pretty much only poke he has. Therefore, sustain from Nyph should be able to keep both him and Tabzz very healthy.
Nyph actually giving out a good bit of harassment there onto VandeR and onto Celaver as well. So playing this bottom lane fairly aggressive, something that, if we think back to the spring split, Roccat did so well. VandeR and Celaver was such an instrumental combo in how well they did in that spring split, as we see Froggen already getting the level advantage over Overpow in the early stages.
Just dashing back and forth here, landing the Q as well. Some more damage. Overpow will have to farm on the tower now and get his level 2, which is of course is a bit hard for him to pick up all the CS, and Froggen staying around to try and be annoying, because Jankos is still on his blue buff, so Froggen knows he has some time where he can stay up here without any wards until the junglers have done both buffs. Normally you say around 3 minutes and 15 seconds is where both buffs have been done by the junglers, and they can now start ganking.
Well, we can see that Shook is well on time for that 3:15, already doing his red buff up on the top
Jankos
side
very
of
fast,
the
though.
map. Yeah, Jankos pretty fast himself, and We'll see at what point he decides to come out of the jungle. He may be called into action because we're expecting that Shook is going to be putting pressure down in the early stages of the game where Lucian really does excel. As we see already, Froggen once again going aggressive onto Overpow, and Shook's going to come into the enemy jungle. Can he actually get in there for the Wraith? He can't, but he's going to have a good go at Jankos here. That's a lot of damage coming in. Jankos falling low, and now Overpow being hit on by Froggen as well. Overpow only got about a quarter of his health remaining, but not going all in.
We talked about this, how early on Shook can go into the jungle of Roccat, try and find Jankos and get him very low, force a flash, maybe even try and kill him, and therefore delay this whole level 6 from Vi. It's a very aggressive play. You see him again, he's just staying in the jungle, double buff and everything, very healthy. Jankos starting to go, he needs to be careful.
Oh, Shook coming around once again. Q actually connecting, but Jankos has already vault breaking himself closer off to his own tower and will be feeling more confident. However, he is going to be forced to recall there, and that's early advantage here for Shook, who's pretty much dominating that top side of Rockat's jungle now.
And you have to question the fact that Roccat didn't actually ban Lucian. VandeR going in though, just poking back and forth here, but Roccat, they banned Twisted Fate instead of Lucian, even though they already knew there was 2 jungle bans from the side of Alliance, so they knew what the first pick was going to be from Alliance. Must mean they really respected Twisted Fate from Froggen here, because this matchup, Vi against Lucian, is not good for Vi, and we see it already here. Yang is forced to go back.
That's the problem that you have with these superstar mid laners like Froggen, that even though you respect 1, 2, or maybe 3 champions to ban away, as was the case here, he still has champions to bring out that can be terrifying if things get going. And currently, he's holding a very healthy CS lead over his opposite number. This top lane been fairly quiet up until now. Wickd and Xaxus just had a bit of a trade, and CS fairly even there as well.
Just farming back and forth, both of them. Often in Europe, at least, we see Aatrox go Blade of the Ruined King as first item. Shyvana normally would go a Sunfire Cape as first and then go into some offensive item, unless Wickd wants to build full tank and try and focus on team fighting. But he does have the option to build Blade and be split pushing, and then you have Froggen doing the same thing in a different lane like we talked about in Champ Select. Let's see what he decides to build. But his mid lane, definitely in favor of Froggen here early on. And doing well in Yasuo.
See that Overpow's started to reach forward a little bit from his own turret, missing the body slam there. Froggen just able to sidestep that one. Froggen definitely got the advantage. If you look at that CS, it is 13 the difference right now, as Froggen is going to be taking his first recall home. We already see that Overpow has double Doran's rings after being harassed out there earlier on. We'll see what Froggen comes back into lane with, a Zeal and Potion as well.
And on this bottom lane, both of them just farming away, slight advantage to Tabzz and Nyph. Talk about how the sustain is very good against VandeR here, because he can only poke with the Q or get him close and actually start hitting them with his melee attacks, but it's very, very hard to actually do. So both of them farming away fairly happy. We didn't see too much action. I mean, level 1 and then get back to farm.
Yeah, I think from Rockat's side, they have to come so close to get in on towards that Caitlyn and Nami every single time if they want to get that stun down, that they end up taking so much poke damage trying to get through it anyway.
And here they really just want to push the wave out, because they only have 1 ward in the river, so if Shook actually comes in, they're so far up the lane. If a bubble lands from Nyph, it's going to be hard to escape it, and they might give up first blood. So it's a very risky situation for them to stay this far up the lane. They just want to get it into the tower so they can start either get it all the way in and then back away here. Make sure there's no chance of Nyph coming in behind. Even though they have the ward in river, they're still going to see him so late.
See that Tabzz and Nyph having no worries underneath the tower, and Wickd also picking himself up that Sunfire, oh, not the Sunfire Cape yet, but the Giant Spell at least for this lane phase. More aggressive though from Xaxus' side, that is for sure. It's Jankos and him and Shook. Actually, Wickd going to go very aggressive here onto Xaxus. May just well pop that Bloodwell, and it looks like he possibly will. Gone so very low. Will Wickd flash here for the extra damage? He's not going to, but that's going to force Xaxus out.
And there's no teleport on Xaxus. He's staying for now because he has the passive. He's going to bait this one. Jankos is level 6. They want Wickd to go aggressive once again and then just dive right onto him.
Well, Xaxus is going to come here through that tri-bush. Will Wickd spot him out? Wickd surely will be sniffing that something is up with this one. Will he be thinking, okay, Xaxus coming back in, going to rely on that sustain and his Bloodwell to stay alive. Wickd needs to be real careful for this one. There is a Vault Breaker not connecting, but the Assault and Battery does come in, knock up the slow as well as Wickd does flash, but they're going to follow him through, and there is first blood. It's Jankos that gets it for Roccat.
A very nice setup here. As soon as Jankos got level 6 from the red buff, he went instantly to the top lane, Xaxus stayed. Wickd actually knew something was wrong here because Xaxus came back in the lane so low. But didn't go for it. Froggen in trouble.
Oh, I think he might be going down here. The shield actually giving him that extra bit of protection that may have just saved his life there. And Overpow showing that, okay, he's behind by 10 CS in this lane, but he's certainly not scared of what Froggen can do to him. And Froggen's going to have to go back home here shortly, surely.
And this is the dangerous thing about Gragas. If you do get close to him and he can hit you with the W, he does a lot of upfront burst damage. And we just saw it here. He went straight in, used everything on Froggen, shot him back as well. Froggen didn't actually even use his flash. Both mid laners keeping the flash up, but we saw some very aggressive play from Overpow. Looking strong so far on the Gragas, even though he's slightly behind. Still, they have the issue late game. Unless he builds full AP, which is not very good on Gragas anymore, I'm not sure Roccat will have enough damage.
Well, one thing that certainly helps him is that he's against a attack damage champion in that mid lane, so Zhonya's will fit him anyway for the lane phase as well, and for how he's going to want to be diving into the middle of the team when it comes to actual team fights. Got double cloth armor here from the start, but look at Shook. He's having a sniff around by that Baron pit, and we'll just see Jankos there sticking a ward down. No sweeper lens on him yet. In fact, only the support has one for Alliance. Overpow has already picked up a swap in those trinkets as well, and there we see the Seeker's Arm Guard coming out, so he's going to be going up for that Zhonya's quickly.
And we do see Celaver down his bottom lane here, building towards Blade Rune King on Lucian, so Roccat should definitely be looking for mid-game power. Once he completes it, gets the Ghost Blade as well, he will be very, very strong. Stronger than Tabzz for some minutes at least, where Roccat can then group up and start moving around, set something up. Aatrox, of course, is going to be strong. Gragas as well. So we need to see Roccat around the mid-game points, or maybe around the 20-minute mark, to really start forcing objectives, force Alliance into bad team fights, and then try and win the game from there.
So there, a lot of pressure, the bubble and everything coming down onto VandeR, but Braum very tanky as Wickd actually going to dive in once again onto Xaxus with his ultimate. Xaxus losing about half of his health this time around, but with that Cutlass in there as well, he shouldn't be having too many problems of getting himself straight back up to full HP.
So Wickd actually just used the ulti, cleared the wave, and then went back to base, and now going to return it without using the teleport, so Dragon might be an option for Alliance here, but both top laners have the teleport. So unless they force it away from Xaxus, it's going to be hard for him to just start the Dragon. Down his bottom lane here, both jungles nearby. Shook is at the golems though, Jankos is setting up for gang instead.
See VandeR there just blocking out as well as he possibly can. We are going to be seeing Jankos coming into this lane, but VandeR's already taken a lot of damage. Tabzz actually flashing early. Here comes Shook. They're going to look to turn the around. Kick onto Celaver. Ace in the hole will land. It's Shook that actually gets the kill. VandeR got away, but with hardly any health left. Meanwhile, Froggen here going a bit deep and tanking up a turret. Overpow's already used his ultimate, so he won't have enough damage to finish off the kill, but again, he'll get Froggen low.
So now Alliance moving towards the Dragon because Celaver died. He did actually flash as soon as Shook came in because he knew he was going to be the target to get kicked back into the rest of Alliance. It just wasn't enough. He ended up dying for it. Xaxus teleporting down here.
Oh, this could be dangerous. The
Here's
Dragon
Wickd.
Half HP. They're going to focus Shook at the back. They're going to kill him as well. Jankos gets that one, but can they get any more? Can they secure this Dragon? He's going low. Will be finished off there by Jankos with the smite, and now they're going to go for Wickd. Actually, they found Tabzz inside of the tri-bush, and surely won't be able to escape. That's a brilliant bubble from Nyph over the back. There's the barrel coming through from Overpow, and Wickd may even be in trouble as well. And Xaxus finishes that one off. What a turnaround. A lion start off the Dragon. Ended up losing 3 kills, plus the Dragon itself.
So Xaxus here teleported down before Wickd joined in. He was trapped at first, but he joined in first, and the rest of Roccat moved in. Froggen was very late to this fight here. Overpow moved to the mid lane. Notice your minimap. Froggen is running from the mid lane now, so Overpow is already in the fight. Jankos goes in. Shook already taking damage from the Dragon. He's an easy kill. Froggen doesn't even actually join for the fight. There's no knockup for him. He needs to back away. So very uncoordinated by Alliance. Some miscommunication as well. I mean, Wickd teleported so late. Froggen moved so late as well. And therefore Roccat, even with 4 members, take Dragon, get 2 kills in the end here as well, and also a kill on to, was it Shook in the Dragon pit?
And finisher there onto Wickd, and look at this Roccat not standing still. They're actually going to go for Froggen here. They've got Celaver and Overpow. There's the knockup though. Ulti comes out. Froggen, is he going to get the kill? He will, and flashes away. The kick from Shook comes in as well. Overpow's now going to struggle as he'll body slam out. One more Q needs to land here from Shook as Overpow goes straight through the minion line. And there is the Q landing. Oh, a flash from Overpow. Last second will keep him alive.
Oh, clutch stuff here Froggen managed to survive, Overpow managed to survive, but Celaver did go down. They managed to pick up the mid tower, however, so worth it by Roccat, or for Roccat. They will lose the spot tower, so actually trading 1-for-1 now on a kill. Never mind, in favor of Alliance now.
4-2 in kills. Roccat still holding a 2,000 gold lead though, with that dragon and the kill advantage. If you look down the farm here, just to compare that a little bit, top lane going well for Roccat. Mid lane still a little bit behind. AD carry also 10 CS behind, but a couple of kills there onto Jankos. We'll see what he can do with them, because he said it before, he's a big playmaker in this Roccat team. Already put down a lot of pressure onto those lanes, and really good kill there onto Tabzz as well in the Tribush to lock him up with his ultimate. After all that had happened, still had his assault and battery.
Exactly, like his first few levels had some issues, but it is to be expected. But then from as soon as he hit level 6, first gank, there was a kill. Dragon as well picked up 2 kills, or 1 extra kill for himself. So been looking very, very good, and Roccat been very good at moving around here and quickly grouping up again. They were the first team to arrive at the Dragon, while Alliance were very late for it. And we do see already now, Alliance will be doing the thing we talk about in champs like they can do with Caitlyn, where you put her in mid lane, and she just farms now for the next 10-15 minutes, becomes very, very strong. Tabzz needs to complete the Infinity Edge, she needs to complete a Static Shift or Phantom Dancer as well, before he can really start doing anything against someone like Celaver. And then you have Wickd in a different lane, and you have Froggen as well to try and split push. Gonna be hard though, because Roccat now pushing up to the tower.
Yeah, 3 men coming in from this one. Jankos there, they do actually have Chuck waiting in the Tribush there, but I think this tower may be on its way down. Minions being cleared out nicely. That top turret is going to be finished off by Xaxus there. Seemingly too much for Wickd to handle, and Roccat get that top turret, the second one of their game, and they're going to get rid of this pink ward as well. Will deny the vision for Alliance, make them a little more uncomfortable about how well they can defend this bottom tower.
So a bit of a weird timing actually by Alliance to send Froggen down to this bottom lane, because the bot tower was still alive. It simply meant Roccat could just keep their dual lane and of course Jankos and pressure into this tower. Get it very, very low now. Shug is here, Nyph is here as well, trying to defend it. And Tabzz in this mid lane. It's gonna be hard for him to do anything against Overpow other than just try and wave clear and then go towards the jungle camp.
And Overpow coming in for a sneaky little Wraith finish there at the end. And Jankos is still waiting for any pushback from Alliance on this bottom side of the map, but as that minion wave starts to come through, that turret should be in danger here. I'm not sure that Froggen can hold on to that one. He's got hardly any health remaining on it. Froggen here, you can see just backing straight away, especially as he sees Jankos coming as well. That's turret number 3 for Roccat.
Again, a bit weird is the whole thing. Why do you send Froggen bot so early when your tower is still alive? Yes, you lost your mid tower, but he was still doing fairly well against Overpow. Could try and trade back and forth with him, and with help from Shug, they could have been able to pick up a kill. Yet they just gave up the bot tower now. Top tower was already very low by Xaxus himself, so lost all the outer turrets very early in the game.
Well, we have to question as well, at this point of the game, with those kind of moves from Alliance which seem to cost them a little bit, is that really the slow patch adaptation that they've been talking about? For me, that would have cost them just as much 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, this is nothing about patch. Nothing about patch. I mean, the comp they're running is very good here in 4.11 as well. It was good a few weeks ago as well. There's nothing with the comp they're playing, the way they play the map as well. Would be the same deal. I mean, they had issues in the laning phase. If you look towards the top lane, where Xaxus did really well and managed to take tower by himself, Froggen did outfarm Overpow, but his tower took a lot of damage, and Jankos jumped in to take it down, or Celaver jumped in to actually take it down. So they did have the same issues in the laning phase, which they could have had otherwise, even though Froggen did well on farm. Didn't have any pressure on Overpow in the very end. Bottom lane, they did take the tower, and then they just sent Froggen down, who can't do anything to defend it by himself, so...
We got 20 seconds here until Dragon comes up, and Roccat have already shown us that they're willing to fight around Dragon, which is something that the Roccat team that was struggling earlier on in this split almost refused to do. They were very scared of getting their hands dirty and fighting around the Dragon. I think because they were scared of losing too early on in the game and falling too far behind. But we saw this from them yesterday and over the last week as well, and certainly here today when they feel they've got this advantage over Alliance, and they're going to be looking to start off this Dragon once again, possibly.
Notice the build from Overpow. He's building towards many different items at the moment. Not sure if he wants to complete a Rod of Ages, if he wants a Lich Bane, Iceborne Gauntlet, he wants an Hourglass. I mean, there's a lot of different items he's building towards, but he didn't actually complete any of them. And if he wants Rod of Ages, you want to get it as early as possible so it starts stacking up. But he's been delaying it a lot. He wanted the early armor, And then he wanted some cooldown reduction. Then he wanted the Sheen to smack Froggen even harder in the head. And now also towards the Rod of Ages.
Xaxus once again going on to Wickd. Blade of the Ruin King goes down. There's the ultimate now of Wickd. He's going to back away. Dragon started in the meantime here by Roccat, and they're going to get this one. Nothing that Alliance can do. And that will be another Dragon here for Roccat. And they're up to almost a 5,000 gold lead, 18.5 minutes into this game. Everything going so well for the Polish team.
So this one Alliance had to give up, especially again if you look at the AD carries. We talked about how Blade of the Ruin King and Brutalizer into Ghostblade makes Lucian very strong at his mid-game point, where Caitlyn just needs to farm up. I mean, Tabzz been sitting in his mid lane for the last 5 minutes, just trying to farm as much as possible, so he would have been a lot weaker in the fight. Froggen himself, he needs some more items on Yasuo before he can really start killing people in these team fights. He wants to complete the Blade as well to be even stronger in the split push. So Alliance just going to be happy sitting in their side lanes and putting Tabzz in the mid lane and try and farm up as much as possible. And then it's up to Roccat now to force the next objective. They already got the Dragon, they got the outer turrets. Are they going to group up 4 members and start pushing down mid lane? I don't know what exactly they want to do. Xaxus in this top lane is beating Wickd one-on-one, so they can use this to apply some pressure and force multiple members from Alliance to go top and trying to defend against Xaxus if he pushes all the way down.
We did see Alliance actually send Shook and Froggen down towards his bottom lane, see if they could catch Celaver out, but he's just frozen that wave halfway up his lane, and he's not going to be feeling in any kind of danger right now, trying to get a bit of farm back. He's fallen a decent amount behind Tabzz, who, as you mentioned, has just gone between the mid lane and the Wolf camp pretty much constantly for these last 5, 6, 7 minutes. And now Alliance are all grouping up here. That middle turret may be the next target for them. There's a 4th man as Tabzz coming back from that Wolf camp, and they need to try and get around to defend this one. But again, Gragas with that wave clear can keep them fairly safe, as Wickd is going to bully Xaxus away. Someone actually is going to ultimate out of that one. They are going to completely surround Xaxus. Can't see him getting away from this one. Got his Bloodwell though, which may help him out. There's the kick. Q going to land as well. Bloodwell is going to get popped, and there are 4 men right on top of Xaxus. You don't get away from that, especially with the bubble, and Froggen will pick up the 3rd kill for Alliance.
But notice here, there's no minions from Alliance because the wave is pushed all the way down to their own tower, and Roccat now just pushing down this mid lane. They will be able to take it, even if teleport from Wickd, they can just ignore him.
Oh, are they going to be able to finish this one off? Wickd does come in there, but he's the only man defending for Alliance, and that is a nice move from Roccat. Alliance couldn't take the top tower. Yes, they got a kill onto Froggen, but they lose their inner middle turret,
at all.
Which may be enough now for Roccat to start warding completely on both sides of the Alliance jungle and really strangling them out.
They already started, placed at least 1 deep ward, can now go back, get some more wards. We see Xaxus here for the pink ward and a green ward for his own top lane, and he can move into the big Wraith or the Wolf camp, place the ward or the blue buff, and then when the next one spawns, this one they won't be able to get, but the next one they can try and contest it and try and strangle Alliance out of their own jungle, take everything away from them, and also delay Tabzz from farming, because he's been farming the Wolves and the Wraiths. If you walk in, get some deep wards, and catch him farming these camps here, it's an easy kill.
Froggen once again will go right back down to the bottom, seemingly going back to that plan which pretty much cost him the outer turret in the bottom lane earlier on. He does have Shook there for a little bit of backup, just in case anyone goes aggressive onto him, and Shook has now come through onto that tribal chariot. VandeR actually waiting around. Celaver going to come in. This may be a good bait actually for Alliance.
Shook is here.
Going to have a good go, and there's a wind wall coming down. Ulti out of VandeR. Overpow's going to come around the side. There's no one else there for Alliance. There's a barrel coming in, and Shook is going to go down. It's Overpow that gets that. TP came out as well from Xaxus in the top lane. They're not going to be able to catch on to Froggen, but again, Alliance thinking they've baited Roccat into a fight where actually they've just baited themselves to a death.
They can take top tower. Tabzz already pushing it in here. A lot of members from Roccat moved to this bottom side to actually kill Shook, and now Alliance pushing onto this top tower. Roccat is coming. They want to fight.
Well, Jankos is going to go in there alone here from the start, try and hold on to it.
Too.
Half HP still left on that tower, so they're actually going to keep a hold of that one. And look at this, moving in now to really push Alliance back out of the way. Assault and battery is available. Xaxus is going to come from the side. They've caught out Nyph, who's going to get stunned here in just a second, and that will be the kill. He was the sacrificial lamb there for Alliance, so the other 2 men could get back.
So actually thought the top tower was a lot lower, therefore thought Alliance could take it, but very good move by Roccat. Came up there, multiple members, stopped them from even hitting the tower, forced them away, picked up a kill. Now Celaver all alone down this bottom lane against Froggen. We'll just pick up some nice farm, and next time he goes back, should be able to complete his Ghostblade.
Well, for him. And I'm not sure that Froggen really wants to attack him underneath the tower there either. If he gets a perfect combo off, maybe actually running Elixir here as well is Froggen. That extra spike. I'm not sure how much that's going to give him. Up to 208 CS for him. Does have that Shiv, of course, from early. Going Blade of the Ruin King second.
And Alliance side here. A lot of physical damage with both Yasuo, with Caitlyn. And the damage from, or the magic damage from Shyvana late game won't be something that's Roccat really going to bother anything about. So they are stacking a lot of armor here early, which of course will be in favor of them when it comes to late game points. But Alliance can do the same thing, get some defensive items and make it very hard for Roccat to kill them. So we might get some very long, drawn-out teamfights in the late game. Because Roccat will stack a lot of armor, and because Alliance, or because Roccat with the comp itself, late game simply won't have a lot of damage. So they need a lot of time in the fights as well. So we have to see how it's going to work in these fights here. Yasuo, of course, is one of the best champions against a lot of armor. We actually see him going towards Xaxus here.
Oh, his Bloodwell just came up there during that fight, and that will surely be popped here in just a second. Froggen chasing him down that mid lane, but Gragas coming in. Can he get the barrel off quick enough? There's the ace in the hole, and that was blocked by Overpow. And Xaxus, what looked like sure death with no passive, he comes back up and he's able to just saunter on out in safety.
The Hurricane from Froggen just missed him, and he walked away without his passive being popped. Roccat staying around here. Dragon is alive, but a lot of members from Alliance are going for Nyph.
Oh, they're going to go straight towards Nyph. They're coming out. Overpow gets that one. Wickid's in the middle of them, but he might be in danger as well. They've turned towards Shock. He will go down to Celaver. Now Tabzz on his own on the top side along with Wickd. Wickid gets stunned up. He's going to flash actually nicely into that raid camp, but he's taking a lot of damage, and Celaver follows through with a flash, the heal for the speed boost, and gets another kill.
Alliance shouldn't be teamfighting at this point here. Roccat are so strong in the mid game. I mean, Celaver, Blade of the Ruin King, Ghostblade, he destroys people. Jankos does a lot of damage as well. They're starting Baron now. You have early armor items. Because Roccat are so far ahead in gold, there's no way for Alliance to win a straight up team fight. So I have no idea why they even moved towards Roccat.
I mean, if we look there, you see two Randuins, Morel and Nomicon, gonna pretty much take Nyph out of the equation in there as well. And that Baron, you see, going very, very quickly in favor of Roccat. And they are looking like a completely different team these last couple of weeks. Picking up wins left and right, having full control here over Alliance, who are now doing Dragon and maybe need to be careful. There is Jankos coming in, but it was actually Shook that got it. I got a bit overexcited for that one. Shook quick enough on the smite this time.
Yeah, smite from Jankos was used on Baron. Didn't have it for the Dragon here, and Alliance at least pick up the first Dragon of the game for them, get some gold. They're still just looking to farm up and go late game, because they don't stand a chance against Roccat at the moment. Every single member is just stronger in this mid game point. And now with Baron buff, Roccat can farm up these waves, push the side lanes, go back to base, shop, and then just start grouping up and move down. They might even be able to just dive straight onto Alliance.
Let's have a look down some items then. Wow, Roccat do in fact push out those side lanes. Ghostblade, Blade of the Ruin King on Celaver, who picked up a great couple of kills in that last fight. We talked earlier about Overpow, who was building in about 3, 4, 5, 6 different directions. Went with the Rod of Aegis, then the Morel and Omicron. He's now got a Sheen and that Seeker's Arm Guard. So we'll see what comes up next from his side of that. And we can see there the Dragon totals between these two teams. Way behind a Roccat in the grand scheme, but this game they've had such great control.
They've done a very good job with their comp, and the very first Dragon, which actually should have gone to Alliance because they got a kill on Celaver in the bottom lane, Roccat was simply just faster at moving and joining in, so they created their own number advantage, killed Shook, and then Alliance were just completely split up and had to run away. Now they cannot finally take this blue buff because they moved into the jungle of Alliance, placed all the wards they need, take away the buff, take away the camps, and just deny as much gold as possible from Alliance here.
Yeah, the start of the strangulation possibly here of Alliance, and we see here Jankos waiting over the wall. Didn't realize, I don't think, that Froggen was actually there at the side of him. Possibly even better for Froggen was that news, because there were 3 of them were there. Overpow was just off to the side, and we see Xaxus, he's pushing out this bottom lane as well. There's a bubble coming to VandeR, but they can't really follow up with any damage on that. Overpow now joining the fight. We'll see if Alliance can hold on to this tower. They've sent Wickd down bottom. Both top laners now in the bottom lane have teleport as well if they need it.
So they can join in here, but it's Roccat being aggressive, pushing down the wave every single time. Mid lane, however, they need to go back in and push it out, and then go back to this mid lane. Xaxus down this bottom lane. We see him just ignore Wickd. Walks in, hits the tower a few times, backs away, will be able to sustain on the minions, or the jungle camps if he needs to. And he will just be able to get some damage on the tower every time he has a wave.
Roccat still waiting it out with 4 men on the top side of the map, and Alliance have no chance other than to just sit here and hope that they can push these waves out as quickly as possible and stop Roccat from actually getting in. We see that bit of tanking going to be needed from Jankos. That's a big hit from Tabzz, actually getting a big crit on towards Celaver, which sent him packing a little bit. But Froggen now, if he shows himself somewhere else, that might be the chance to take that inner turret.
Yeah, or just go straight for the dive if they want to. I mean, Nyph is an easy target. Tabzz, of course, can net away, but still, there's so much damage in this mid-game point for Roccat. If they log onto a squishy target, they will be able to get a kill very fast.
So we have a slight pause coming out here. Actually was Overpow that initiated that one, so we'll see exactly what the problem seems to be on that front. But let's take a look then at where we are in this game. We see that Roccat nicely ahead overall. 8,200 gold, 4-1 up in turrets, 9-3 up in kills. And those kills in very good place as well. 2 on the AD carry, 3 for Overpow in the mid lane. And I think it's a good time to talk about Overpow because we were wondering how strong this mid lane Gragas was going to be. We've been seeing top lane Gragas over and over and over again. But this mid lane Gragas has worked out nicely for Overpow.
So this is probably the first time I've seen Morello Nomicon on mid lane, or on Gragas here in the newer patches, because normally again people will build some defensive items where Morello Nomicon obviously does not offer you anything defensive. So it's the first time I've seen it, but he's just playing, he's using the fact he was so strong. Even though he fell behind in CS to Froggen, he could actually duel him and kept going towards the kill. So he got very strong, kept building for a lot of AP just to be even stronger now in his mid-game points. Even though he doesn't scale as well as the old Gragas when it comes to his abilities, he can still be very strong now because he's built all this AP. But it will be risky for him late game, where he will be very squishy. And someone like Tabzz, we see him already in Vintage Static Shift. Once he completes a few more items, he will be able to take him down very fast.
Yeah, protection probably going to have to come out next time around with the Zhonya's or what have you for Overpow. We'll look at Celaver as well, because he's got now that last Whisper finished off. Just a step ahead of Tabzz really on finishing off those items, thanks to the gold lead that Roccat have over Alliance.
And this game is the reason the European AD carries on Lucian likes to build Blade of the Ruined King and Ghostblade. If you look at the other regions, you actually often see just Infinity Edge every single time as first item, especially in Korea, they don't build this at all. But they like, the European AD carries, they like to go Blade of the Ruined King and just focus on this mid-game power spike you get. And it's a thing Roccat has been doing. I mean, as soon as it was completed, they just started looking for fights, looking for kills, looking for objectives, and they got them every time because they were so strong. And because Alliance, for some reason, walked straight into them, I was like, okay, we'll team fight you. Oh, never mind, we lost.
And it's funny because we looked at other teams before and we said they've got a fine team comp, but they're fighting at the wrong times. And it seems like Alliance have done almost that in this game, getting dragged in a couple of times there to that Dragon Pit. We'll see if they can actually change things around. They're on the back foot now, of course, with Roccat having Baron buff on and just being, quite frankly, so far ahead of things. They've set up that split push, Xaxus down in the bottom lane with Wickd trying to hold on to him. And you mentioned about Wickd, the fact that the Shyvanas here in Europe generally will go into that Sunfire Cape and then maybe off onto Blade of the Ruined King. This time around, full tank build though. Randuin's is his second item.
So normally when you talk with the top laners here, they will only go Blade of the Ruined King if they feel like they can do anything in a split push. Otherwise they'll just build full tank and stay on farmer lane with teleport, then teleport in and flank around in a team fight and just be very, very tanky. The issue is, if you build full tank on Shyvana, you won't be able to hold someone like Aatrox, because he has Blade, so he will take you down very fast in the start with the 8% of your current health on hit with the Blade, and at the same time, every time the minion wave comes towards him, he'll just heal back up whatever damage he took before, and he can keep doing it again and again. So Wickd won't be able to hold him in these one-on-ones, and they have to send someone down to help him, otherwise they will lose a tower. And Alliance at the moment are just trying to buy time. Only issue for Roccat, while Gragas is good at sieging, he's still a melee champion, so he needs to move in and smack the tower. He can't do it because Alliance is standing there defending, so they only have Celaver to actually hit the tower.
So how do they hold on to this in the grand scheme of your Alliance? We talk always about wave clear and how your composition is able to hold on to turrets. And if you look down that Alliance team, the only real safe wave clear, I guess we can call it, is the Piltover Peacemaker out of Caitlyn. And then you look at Pacemaker. That's
a pretty cool.
Bad for your heart sometimes, or good for your heart in others, I suppose. But for Roccat, you know, the likes of these barrels that are going to be hurting means it's hard for you to stick to a tower. If Celaver pops his Cullen, you can't stick onto that turret against an AD carry that's going up to 3-4 items.
And it's what Roccat is doing at the moment. They are standing 4 members up in the top side and just try and poke away into Alliance. If they manage to get some poke on someone like Tabzz and force him away from the tower, they can just move straight in and take it. I mean, they need 1 member from Alliance to back away. They can either dive or just brute force onto the tower, take it down, even though only Celaver is a ranged champion. They can still, as soon as there's not 4 members from Alliance to fight them on the tower, they should be able to take it. So they're basically waiting for Alliance to make their move, or for Roccat to land some good poke, force someone back. I mean, Nyph, he's very squishy. If he moves too close to Overpow, he's going to ult him back to his own team and just destroy him instantly and then move in for the tower. So Roccat definitely in the driving seat and pushing down 2 lanes. Mid lane, however, is going to actually be pushed up to them, which is an issue because they won't have any pressure then.
No pressure on that mid lane. Same time, though, it only needs 1 person to go over there, although that person could end up being hunted by someone like Froggen, who will definitely be able to kill off the likes of Celaver, although that Ghostblade Blade of the Ruin King combo can often catch you out here, I think, as well, with that last Whisper added in. Let's talk about Roccat and, you know, a little bit more wider picture, because we noted before that Veggie, their coach, their analyst, has been back with this team. And it's not just a coincidence that Roccat have started really picking up their game, doing well, and gaining some of that confidence back. Because earlier on in the season, we saw them after a victory shock sort to Overpow on stage, and it looked like they were on a 10-game losing streak the way that he was looking on that one. But this is the Roccat that are looking happier, and I think feeling as confident as they did in the spring split.
So in the start of this split, Veggie apparently wasn't with the team. He was doing his own thing, not sure what he was doing, but he wasn't there for the first few weeks, and Roccat looked very, very bad. I mean, they lost a lot of games. Talk about how they didn't perform. They were down as the bottom team in the standings, and we were also talking about how what's going to happen with Roccat. I mean, they don't look like the team we saw last split. Some of the other players were talking about they had a good run last split. The patch really fit them. It doesn't fit them anymore, so they will no longer perform as well. Veggie came back. They always talk about how he helps them a lot. He provides a lot of insight to the game and helps them find tactics and strategies. So once he came back, it was pretty obvious. As a team, they started believing more and more. Yes, they had some long, drawn-out games. I especially remember the one in London, which was almost an hour long, which is it was the playstyle of Roccat for some weeks. Just say, win early game, and then just take every single dragon, every single baron, and just take it really easy, grind out the enemy team, get to late game, and win the game. This game, instead, though, because again they look better, they look more confident, they're playing aggressive, they have a mid-game comp, and they use it really well to apply a lot of pressure and get very far ahead.
Yeah, and that was, I think, those hour-long games where they would win, where they take longer than they probably should, and not look confident while doing it, was because of their frame of mind almost, because they were saying, we've got no confidence to win these games, we're so scared of messing things up when we've got a 5, 10, 15, 20,000 gold lead, even with Braum on with half of the turrets on the map completely taken out, and our champion's so much stronger in terms of kills and items than everyone else, but definitely a different beast. And I suppose while we're on topics of different beasts, we have to talk about Alliance here a little bit as well, because as a team that had dominated the early stages of this split, let's say the first half of this split was all about Alliance, and SK as well, who also are having a bit of a tricky time. And why is that? I mean, I already asked you the question earlier on. This game, is it because they've been slow to adapt to the patches? Doesn't look like it to me.
So again, from talking with Alliance themselves, they don't really have a playstyle anymore. They're trying a lot of different things. They build comps who can do multiple things, but then they don't do any of them. And it's just weird to see them play, because in this game, the whole idea was obviously Froggen would split push, Wickd would split push, and Tabzz would sit in the mid lane. And they needed to buy time. They didn't. They went into fights, they went into dragon fights, and just team fights in general, and it wasn't a game plan for them. Once they did it, they just fell behind. So they're basically not playing to their own strength anymore, and they really need to go back and watch these games and rethink what should we have done different and how do we get back to the level we were before. Because they're not all of a sudden bad players. They're great players. They're still some of the best players in Europe and still one of the best teams in Europe. They just need to figure out what they're doing wrong at the moment.
Well, guys, you may have noticed we are back in game here with Alliance versus Roccat. Looks like Overpow's issues were solved in this one, so we are back underway, and we'll see what Roccat can do with it. They've got an 8,000 gold lead as we approach the 30-minute mark of this matchup. We can see that the Baron buff has now timed out on them, and as such, they've moved away from that split-pushing formation that they had, the 4 men up top, 1 man down bottom, and we'll wait things out. There's a Dragon up in 2 minutes. Roccat only lost 1, I believe, and that was the last one while they were basically doing Baron.
So worth. Definitely worth it for Roccat. They didn't actually get any towers down with the Baron buff. Just kept farming, got some deep wards, which has now disappeared. And you see Alliance, some very good defensive wards. Instantly as they lost the Baron buff, they went into their own jungle, placed a lot of wards up so they could try and spot Roccat moving around. And now Roccat basically need to reset everything, group up once again, start moving down. If they feel confident, they can siege down the tower, go into the jungle once again, put some new wards, because they've all disappeared by now. And Xaxus just staying down this bottom lane here. Farming on against Wickd. Now actually Froggen, maybe he wants to look for a fight. There's a lot of armor on the side of Xaxus, but we have to remember, Yasuo with his 50% armor penetration when he uses his ulti is very good against armor.
Against 50% of that armor at least.
Against 50% of it. I mean, you probably still would wish they didn't have any armor, but he's one of the champions who can work against it.
So, Baron, as we were talking about, Dragon will be coming up in 1.5 minutes time. Just want to note that Jankos actually picking up that Frozen Mallet, so good chunk of health and a bit of AD, and that's
Frozen Mallet.
Just slow really to maybe chasing down the last final members of Alliance who try to escape from them. Looks like Roccat may be setting up first of all for that Dragon, and then going to move straight over towards Baron. You can see already the ward coverage that they have on the top side of the map. Pink wards basically all around there, so that they keep full vision of that while they do that objective on the bottom side.
And Alliance in this mid lane don't really feel confident enough to just move straight into the Baron area, because if Roccat is waiting for them, they will lose the team fight, and they know it, so they're just staying very, very far back, trying to farm. You even see Froggen down this bottom lane here, being very careful. Just, okay, I'm going to move forward, I'm going to move back a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to take this wave and then back away, because I know there's a chance Roccat is nearby, and they are nearby, because they're moving in now.
That's a lot of people. That is a lot of people to go onto Froggen, and there we see the Sultan battery going to be used. Froggen is going to flash away, but he's not going to escape this one. He's going to fall down eventually. Jankos against that goes onto a rampage at 404, and they can loop around, do the Dragon, or maybe say, you know what, we've only got 25 seconds, we're going to go to Baron, or even they're pushing down this mid lane.
This is what they needed. Before they couldn't actually push because there was wave play on the side of Alliance and they didn't feel confident enough to dive. But now with Froggen being dead, they just push straight into this mid lane.
And they actually finished this one off. Wickd did take that top turret in the outer turret, sorry, in the top lane. And look at Roccat, they're saying, we don't care, we won this one. Froggen's out for 20 seconds. Tabzz getting caught out of position completely. Overpow blowing him into the rest of the team with his barrel. And that's going to be the first in him down. Fairly easy for Roccat, and they can just back off, get themselves a Baron, and they're going to have that mid lane pressure now that they didn't have on their last split push endeavor.
And we saw Froggen down this bottom lane here. Before he actually died, he moved back and forth, didn't really know, can I actually go and take this wave, or will Roccat just come and kill me? They're not done yet, going for Wickd now. No,
Wickd actually will be able to get away just before he gets stunned. You can see one more auto attack would have done that one. There's a blue buff for the taking as well, keeping everything they can away from Alliance. But Froggen is now back on the map, and he's already in this mid lane. Xaxus is at half HP. VandeR's not super healthy. They don't have Tabzz there, but can Alliance hold them away from this Baron long enough? Wickd going to be focused down. He's going to be finished off here, surely, and that's the tank gone for Alliance. I can't see how they can compete after this. They're going to have to go for a steal, but look at that. Overpow diving over the backside. He's going to keep Shook moved away from the backside, and possibly the steal as well, as a Baron down to 3k HP. Froggen is there on the side. VandeR falling decently low, but they dive towards Froggen. Can they finish him? He ults onto Jankos at the back. VandeR will kill off Froggen, and they do finally get Jankos. Baron is still up, still doing damage, and the smite, as you rightly say, is gone now for Roccat. Will that force them away? It will. It's enough to force Roccat off the Baron.
So Alliance sacrificed everything on trying to kill Jankos, so the smite was gone, and Roccat had to back away from the Baron. Didn't want to risk Shook stealing it. Now they are so far ahead already. We're just gonna see the replay once again. Overpow actually on the other side of the Baron because he tried to force Shook away. He just moved around. And now Froggen here with full focus on Jankos. He's the target they wanna kill. Overpow tried to shoot them away to finish off the Baron, but it wasn't in time. It gets the knock-up onto Jankos from Froggen. Kills him. Now the smite is gone. And they have to back away because Shook is still nearby. Also landed a Q onto Overpow, so could jump in and try and smite the Baron if Roccat stayed on it.
I think in the grand scheme, a wise decision from Roccat to actually back away. And we see that the pink ward's now being cleared out by Nyph as well, but it's a 10,600 gold lead for Roccat, and those super minions have to be dealt with there as well. You see that Tabzz has already backed away to be pushing those out along with Nyph. And Alliance going to go back to getting as much farm as they can here from their own jungle, including this red buff.
They need to run to Baron
Froggen now.
They have to go up towards Baron because Roccat is already moving up, clearing the wards. Very good sweep lanes by VandeR just outside the pit to spot this sneaky ward here from Alliance they placed. Now clearing everything they can. There's still a ward left. Still one ward left, so Alliance will be able to see if they actually started. Unless they move into the pit and try and bait it, and Alliance think they're on it.
They certainly could do, but they can see here in full vision that Roccat have set up that bit of a trap. And Alliance need to be so very careful of this one. They know that Roccat have moved forward a little bit. There's the vision of them just creeping around. So this corner brush is such an obvious target. While Overpow stands on the trap itself, which will be even more obvious to them now that this has started off. But there is the start of the Baron. It's going to go down to half very quickly. Wickd is going to TP to that pesky wall that caused them problems before, flashing straight away. But can they now hold them off? Are Alliance going to still challenge for this one? They have to. I mean, they lose this one, they're pretty much going to lose out on the game as a whole. They're still getting these wards down. Finally swept away. Double sweeping lens just to be sure there from Roccat. They start off the Baron again.
Starting in, Overpow staying outside of the Baron pit to try and poke Alliance if they move in towards them. Shuken coming in with the ward. Same deal as before here. And actually going straight for Shuk. Want to try and take him down.
Oh, they're going to try and stun him out here. There is the stun, and they're going to dive towards Shuk.
Double
kill low for Froggen, and the Baron is still alive here. This is a disaster for Roccat. What's going to happen? Xaxus gets himself popped there on his Bloodwell. Baron's still very low. There is Jankos bubbled up. Jankos goes the lights out. Alliance get the Baron. Disaster strike for Roccat. They may even get ace here. Tabzz and Nyph now chasing after VandeR. It's a double already for Tabzz. VandeR will get to safety, but Alliance have got half a minute to push up the mid.
I have absolutely no idea what Roccat was doing here. VandeR, he went out straight on the Shuk, used everything by himself. Everyone else from Roccat just went on different targets. I really hope we're gonna get a replay here, because Alliance now, they're definitely back in the game.
And they're going to take turrets like nobody's business, shredding through them. Wickd tanky enough to just go in there and tank them up completely. The inhibitor surely will fall as well. Overpow and Celaver are going to be coming up in 7 seconds time, but Alliance say, we've held on long enough, we've stolen the Baron, and look at that mid lane. It's now in our favor because our inhib has really respawned as well.
So again, we're just going to see the replay here. Notice VandeR going for Shuk by himself. Nobody else follows. Wicked goes into the Dragon Pit or into Baron Pit. There's no coordination from Roccat. Jankos stays jumping around. There's nothing here. Froggen kills 2 people by himself. Xaxus jumped out to try and kill Shuk, but why do you even care about the jungle at this moment when there's a Yasuo just killing your entire team? So there's so much focus from Roccat onto Shuk, even though it wasn't even about stealing the Baron now. It was about actually a real team fight. There's so many free kills from Alliance. I mean, completely horrible team fight by Roccat, and might have just given everything over to Alliance.
And this is why Roccat was so insecure about doing things like this before. These are the kind of problems I think that gave them that insecurity, where they said, we've got a massive lead, but we're scared of going too far. This time they bet everything on that Baron. And Shuk, you have to say, played that absolutely brilliantly. Drew so much out of the back, almost went down, and then just safeguards off into the pit as well, using everything that he had. Did stay alive as well, got a heal coming out of Summoner from Tabzz and also from Nyph as well. And almost, I'd imagine, was laughing after that fight where they thought, I'm going to die at the back, guys. This is their Baron. Somehow survives it. Froggen just blowing them up for the double kill as well. And now you see that entire map belongs to Alliance. Bottom side completely water. I say completely water out. There's 4 very close wards there. But Roccat, that's going to bring back some of these indecisive thoughts that they had in previous games, and I worry for them at this stage.
And they didn't even need the Baron. They were very far ahead. They already had mid inhibitor down. So that super minion spawning in, they could have gone back to the 4 people top lane, 1 person in the bottom lane, and just pushing in. And as you talked about, they would have now the pressure in the mid lane. So they didn't actually need the Baron, yet they put so much focus onto it. Still, Alliance are behind in gold, and there's a lot of armor on the side of Roccat, so we might see Alliance just try and keep farming up a little bit and not necessarily just force a straight up teamfight under the tower of Roccat, even though they have the Baron buff, because it's going to be hard for them to burst down a target with all this armor on the side of Roccat.
Do with a last whisper here and there. We obviously have one on the AD carry. Froggen might think about that, although he went for that Banshee's Veil as a bit more defense here. Especially, I mean, Banshee going to help things out when he's got to dive in there to get his ulti off and the knock-up across them. Overpow then may have his ultimate blocked from that one that could possibly hinder that one. But look at Alliance, they've pushed up a bit on the bottom lane. Mid lane is going to be pushed on through. They're just going to switch straight across towards that top side of the map, get more wards in on the red side of Rockat's jungle, and surely then just push this top wave out so that Roccat are left with a decision of where do we defend.
They probably don't even have to defend anything at the moment, because Alliance, with Froggen down this red buff, is only 4 members, and they're just looking to push out the waves and then move away, because Roccat can now move up to the top tower here, but Alliance, I mean, they know they can't really push it in, so they just back away. And they put pressure on the map simply to take everything in the jungle of Roccat and make Roccat think, okay, they're gonna group up 5, try and go for a tower here, we need to stay as a group in our base and just defend the tower. But Alliance, they kept Froggen by himself in their own jungle throughout the entire time of the Baron buff, so they never really were looking for any fights, just farm, farm, farm. Need more items. I mean, Tabzz again needs even more items before he can really melt through all the armor and then become very, very strong. You want Wickd as well to get a blade so he can start doing something against Xaxus if they do end up in this one-on-one once again. So Alliance basically just been buying time with this Baron buff and giving them a lot of extra gold.
So have a look at some more items here. As we talked about armor before with the Randuins, for the jungler, for the top laner, they've both now got Thorn Mails as well, which is going to be a harder nut to crack. Just want to quickly look how much exact armor. 286 on Xaxus, 284 on Jankos. So a lot of armor to be working through there. So this game definitely not going to be over. This Baron buff probably going to be timed out, and Roccat, well, if it comes to another Baron, which it probably will here with 2 minutes until it spawns, they're going to be worrying so much about how they can safely do this one. But to be honest, despite that last fight, they're the ones that have been in control of this game up until now.
100%. It was all about this Baron here, and then some miscommunication by Roccat. Some members going to stop Shook, some members staying to team fight, and in the end they just split up and got destroyed by Alliance. Also in the Baron pit, it's very hard to move around, very easy for someone like Froggen to land a knock-up, hit multiple members with his ult, like we saw before. And Alliance still just waiting, buying time, keep farming. We even see some defensive items now on Tabzz. And Nyph, you're in trouble.
This is real bad, but there's a flash from Nyph, and that might just get him away. Meanwhile, they go for Jankos. He will flash out of things. A tidal wave went through and hit 2 or 3 more men that were trying to chase in, but Nyph can think himself a little bit lucky there, having to use the flash to get away. Tidal wave will be down, but there's Baron coming up in a minute. VandeR trying to zone them out as well.
This opens up for Roccat to move into the Baron now, put down their own pink ward and clear everything Alliance actually put down before, because they forced Nyph back and the rest of the Alliance members, so we do see them clear out the pink ward, can place their own, and now try and take control of this Dragon Pit once again, or Baron Pit once again, and then see if Alliance want to face check them. But Alliance did a very good job last time of not just running straight into the face. They kept moving in, poking a little bit. You had the scrying open Froggen as well. And that is one very important ward to just spot Roccat as well.
Look at that gold swing there. Roccat having a slow but steady lead that was building up until about 35 minutes in the game, where it's hitting around 10k. And all of a sudden that just disappears as they lose out on Baron that kills and everything in that mid lane. That inhibitor has respawned now though, so won't have super minions coming in. But look at the timer top left, 10 seconds until the Baron comes up. Roccat have already moved out here. What's the plan gonna be? They're gonna go for Tabzz. They're gonna try and lock down the AD carry with 2 men. Have they got enough to finish up? Froggen is there as well. Overpow goes into the mid. Tidal wave comes down. Zon uses poke. Froggen's gonna go down. There's the shutdown. That's truly the big kill that Roccat are looking for here. Xaxus is low. Wickd will probably finish him off. As Shook getting chased through. Celaver gets another one. Wickd did get the kill, so it's It's 2 for 1, but they've lost Froggen, they've lost Shook. Overpow's going to completely zone Wickd away now. Nami's up the top side. Tabzz will get a recall. He's going to be the only one around there. This should be the Baron. TP coming in. He can't actually stop him TPing out, but he probably won't care either. Roccat going to go for a Baron that I don't want to say 100% is theirs, but beyond anything ridiculous. Now it is, because Nyph's going to go as well. So there's no one there for Alliance. Roccat, with that team fight win, are going to secure Baron.
Such a good engage by Jankos. Look at the minimap. Alliance are completely out of position. Tabzz takes so much damage, forced to flash away here. Overpow joins in. He needs to use Outlast very early to dodge the wave, but then all the damage from Alliance now is pretty much gone, because Tabzz was forced out. He can only hit the closest target, and Froggen, he tried to kill Celaver, wasn't enough. He went down, and from there on the damage was gone from Alliance, and now Roccat could just clear it up with all the armor, but still trying to go one, and Tabzz
completely out of position there. This happened the last time that Roccat pushed in on towards that inhibitor. There's 2 men down. Shook's going to be coming up, but there's no AD carry for a minute. Roccat have a wave pushing at bottom. Top's going to be slowly but surely pushing through as well. They should have Alliance down to just their base after this push.
Now there's no wave clear on the side of Alliance, so they should be able to take this tower as well and push it into the next one, because there's still 40 seconds on Tabzz. They will take it.
Yeah, barrel rolling through, too much zoning there from Roccat for Alliance to think about staying around, and they just simply back away. But will Roccat actually go now for this inhibitor turret with 30 seconds still until the AD carry comes up? Wind wall will come in. That's a good little bubble onto VandeR to give them a bit of damage, but as that wind wall goes down, you see Roccat move into this one. Nothing that Alliance can do to stop it. The second inhibitor of the game is for Roccat is going to be going down on the bottom side of the map. They can do exactly the same now up on the top side.
So with all the armor on the side of Roccat and so much physical damage on Alliance, Roccat actually looking very, very strong in the late game. I said in Champs like how Roccat might have issues late game with the damage because of the champions, because Gragas doesn't scale as well with AP as he used to do. But because they've been stacking so much armor, they've been doing well in these fights. And because they could catch Tabzz out of position, we have to say it, he was caught out of position in the mid lane. The rest of Alliance weren't even close to help him. So it was a big advantage from Roccat just as the fight started. And then he managed to take down Froggen afterwards and punish Tabzz once again in the mid lane, where they caught him out of position for the second time in a row. And then took 2 inhibitors from it. So very good engages from Roccat. And as long as they can get to the squishy targets from Alliance, they will be able to actually force them out of the fight or take them down and then win the fight, even though they don't necessarily have too much burst damage themselves.
Feel a little bad for Tabzz, because as that fight started and basically Jankos just beeline for him, he was actually pretty far back. But that's the advantage of Vi, you know, if you use your flash, your Vault Breaker, and then your ultimate to get in, you cover a lot of ground. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily safe. And Alliance were just all over the place now, and look at it, they're moving straight towards the top side now.
And finally, Roccat also did the thing they didn't do against Gambit when they played Vi last week. Follow Jankos. If he goes in, everyone follow. Like they flashed for Xaxus, he flashed, jumped on to Tabzz as well. They knew, okay, Jankos is going in, we will follow him. They didn't do it last week when they played Vi, therefore they lost the team fights. This game around, they've been doing it every single time. When Jankos went in, the rest of the team followed instantly.
So 1 inhibitor remains here for Alliance. The super minions are going to be streaming in down the bottom lane. That's the lane that's going to be causing the most problems, because they have to leave the furthest possible place to defend here on this top side of the map. We'll see if Roccat can force them to send someone down there. They're going to have to. We can see that Tabzz is already moving back to that one. Mid lane is also pushing in as well, and this should allow Roccat to get in there and have a good go onto this turret. The super minions are already on the Nexus turrets. They're going to get 1 at least from this one. Alliance have sent Tabzz back, but he can't stop it. There's actually, how many? 2 super minions in there. Tabzz himself is actually taking a lot of damage from those super minions. Does finally clear most of those out and gets back to the top lane.
Alliance, they have to just go for an engage, try and win the fight, then go back to your own base and clear the super minions, because every time they move back and forth to clear them, Roccat will push in, get a few hits on the tower, and they can keep doing it over and over.
Wickd there taking some damage of his own. Tabzz real far forward once again. Only needs a single ultimate to come out there from Overpow, and he'll find himself right in the middle of the team. And his Banshee's Veil not ready just yet. That's the thing that may save him going forward as the bubble lands onto Xaxus. Cullen gonna come out. You need to get away from that, as they do manage to dodge off to the sides. And we see that the super minions being pushed back at least to the steps of the base for now by Alliance.
You also see the traps being put down by Tabzz, so annoying to deal with when you want to move in and hit the tower. If your Banshee's not up, and you're Celaver and you step on a trap, it's the go signal for Alliance to just pile onto you and try and kill you.
And Nyph respawned here in mid as well, so Roccat just going to come straight across to this one, try and deal with it. As Overpow took a little bit of damage there from Wickd. He's got that Blade of the Ruin King, but there's still super minions inside of the base itself, and that means the second Nexus turret is actually going to go down to half HP, which is a real problem here. Alliance holding on by just a thread in this match. Top lane is being pushed out by Overpow as well.
It's all about killing Celaver at the moment. If they manage to get him down, a lot of the damage from Roccat is gone, and you see them constantly trying to land with Bubble onto him, land the Hurricane from Froggen, just to get this engage going where they can kill him instantly and then win the team fight. If they don't get to Celaver, he will be able to destroy them.
Can they do this? Can they hold on to it? That's the question. It's not just raining, it's pretty much pouring here from Alliance's side. Those super minions again will be coming in down the bottom. It is the last wave though, because that inhibitor did respawn. Mid inhib of course is already up, as well as Wickd. Gonna get caught out a little bit, but he is super tanky at this point. And Roccat just looking again for that little chance where Alliance have maybe overcommitted on one side or the other. And in the end they decide, okay, let's back away. We've done enough damage for now. There's 1 minute and 15 till that next Baron comes up. They're all sat on over 1,200 gold. There's 1,800 gold even on some of them to spend. So gonna be on max build here.
And Roccat played it very, very safe here. Every time Alliance sent someone back to clear the super minions, Roccat didn't actually move in and try and take inhibitor or try and take a tower. They stayed back. Some Alliance now managed to hold off, got both inhibitors back now. Super minions will no longer be spawning. I feel like Roccat maybe could have been a little bit more aggressive, but they didn't want to risk getting into a bad fight and lose the game here because they've been playing so well. So played it very, very safe. Now gives Alliance actually a second chance, because Baron is going to be up in 30 seconds, where Alliance can go up and try and force or try and be part of a team fight. And if they win it, take Baron and possibly the game here. So second chance for Alliance. Even though they have super minions running into the base, and with all the armor on Roccat, they could easily have tanked up the tower if they wanted to.
I actually saw Celaver sell his Ghost Blade and pick up a Trinity Force here.
Yeah, it's not the best late game item, so it makes a lot of sense he actually wants to sell it.
Also on the other side, Zephyr was picked up by Tabzz as he sold his boots, so he's on a full 6-item build now, and we can basically forget about the gold and the items, because everyone's right up there at this stage. It's all about positioning and how these next fights, or next fight probably, there's probably only going to be one of them. We're already 52 minutes almost into this game, and look, the Baron has now respawned in. It's been a hotly contested area of the map up until now, with Alliance managing that great fight earlier to steal one Baron away. Roccat then picking up the kills to get this, well, it was the third one of the game obviously. And now the fourth one has spawned in, and we'll see who's going to get the better of that one. I think Roccat, as you said, could have been a little bit more aggressive earlier on, but it's definitely about safety for them. You know, they've already had that scary moment once where they ended up losing the Baron and then their inhibitor in that mid lane. If you lose the Baron now, it's probably going to be your entire base and your Nexus.
Yeah, whoever loses the next team fight should also lose the game, because you're dead for such a long time. And it's actually Alliance pushing Roccat back here in their own side of the map. Very few wards around the Baron, however, no pink wards for any of the teams, so none of them can just try and sneak it with 1 or 2 members. Alliance actually pushing up here, getting some damage on the Xaxus, forcing him to back away, but Wickd as well, taking a lot of damage from Celaver.
A lot of damage, probably far too much, and there's the ulti coming in. They're going to go for it. Wickd has to flash away. Nyph going to be bounced around as well. Froggen does get his ultis onto Overpow, and he just uses the Zhonya's. They lose Shook. Overpow's going to go low. He's back. Is he going to survive it? There's a lot of damage following in on that one, but he has managed to live through. Tabzz may be caught out as well. VandeR, Celaver chasing in. Nyph will be the easy target here though for Roccat, and only 2 men now left alive. They're too dangerous men for Alliance. Wicked's gonna TP back up to this one. Didn't fully heal, but it might actually be enough for him. Where are Roccat gonna go? We can see they're kind of wondering, do we go back?
No,
do we actually recall here? Alliance starting to push a little bit up middle. Roccat gonna come back into this one. Wickd takes another blast from Celaver, but they're playing around each other, trying to get back onto their own side of the map. There is Froggen going in. Can he finish off VandeR? It's Tabzz that gets the kill, but Froggen will be hunted down. Wickd dives in as well. Celaver down towards Tabzz gets that one. Wicked's gonna go down as well. This is surely the game for
This got the
Roccat.
game. Froggen, he jumps onto VandeR, the support. He didn't get Celaver. It's all about Celaver. In this last fight here for Alliance, they didn't get to him. He did all the damage. And with all the armor on the rest of the members, they could just tank up Alliance. Oh no, they're gonna finish the game.
They're gonna finish the game. Shook's gonna come up in 7, Nyph in 15, but that's not gonna be anywhere near enough to stop this Roccat team blowing through their base. Jankos and Overpow can tank things up, and they're actually gonna go for Shook here. It's gonna put Jankos onto the fountain. Kick from Shook will get him probably back off to safety, but they don't care. They're going for the Nexus, and Roccat go 2-0 on the week. Alliance losing out once again, and what a victory. It was a hard-fought one. It took them 54 minutes. They lost a team fight, lost a Baron, lost an inhibitor, but held on in the end. Brilliant from Roccat.
And this very last team fight was so back and forth. It was all about getting to the squishy members. We even saw Overpow go in very aggressive, had to use the hourglass and managed to get away, recalled and returned into the fight. And Alliance, they stayed around, they wanted more. Lands a knock one to VandeR, goes for it, and then Celaver just stays right next to him and just destroys the remaining members of Alliance and managed to win the game here. So both teams